Imagine waking up, right? You grab your phone off the nightstand and you realize that while you were completely asleep, your business handled a really furious customer complaint.
Oh man, waking up to those is the worst.
The absolute worst. But in this scenario, not only did a system intercept that angry email, it actually interpreted why the customer was so mad.
Right.
It went in, verified their purchase history in your database, issued a partial refund automatically, drafted this highly personalized apology, and then updated your team's internal dashboard.
Wow.
And the crisis was totally averted, and you didn't write a single line of code or click a single
I
button.
mean, it sounds like science fiction, right? Or at least something that only an enterprise tech company with like a massive engineering team could pull off.
Exactly.
But the reality is the architecture to build that exact scenario is literally sitting on the table right now. It's accessible to basically anyone with a laptop.
Well, welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We are pulling from this really incredible stack of notes and scripts provided by the Peakpod AI channel.
Yeah, they've been doing some great coverage.
They really have. They've been documenting these two massive kind of interconnected shifts in the tech landscape. So Perplexity AI on one hand, and then a workflow automation platform called n8n on the other.
Right, the information side and the action side.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to look at how this next generation of tools is completely dismantling the old ways we work. Because we're moving way beyond just, using AI as a fun brainstorming buddy.
Right, asking it for a recipe or something.
Yeah, we're exploring how anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur, a creator, or just someone who's frankly sick of doing repetitive digital chores, how you can architect your own invisible, highly autonomous digital workforce.
Which is a huge competitive advantage. I mean, the underlying shift here is moving from being the laborer doing the manual clicks to being the manager of intelligent systems.
But to build a system like that, right, one that can take action on its own, you first have to feed it really accurate synthesized information.
Yes. You absolutely can't automate complex decisions if your data gathering is slow or, just completely flawed.
And that's usually the bottleneck, which is why the Peakpod AI notes actually start by tackling the information layer first.
Makes sense.
Like, we all know ChatGPT, and obviously we all know Google, but the sources zero in on Perplexity AI as kind of the foundational tool for this new workflow.
Yeah, they really do.
So assuming most of you listening have played around with standard AI chatbots by now, what is it that makes Perplexity the engine we need to focus on here?
It really comes down to the fundamental difference between discovering information and comprehending it.
Okay, break that down.
Well, for decades, the dominant paradigm of the internet has been the blue links model.
Right, yeah. The classic search results page.
Exactly. You type in a query, a search engine indexes billions of pages based on keywords, and it just hands you 10 blue links. It's essentially saying, hey, here are the places where your answer might live. Good luck.
Right, go figure it out yourself.
Yeah, the burden of synthesis is entirely on you. You click a link, you dodge like 15 cookie banners.
Ah, the pop-ups.
Right. You skim the SEO-optimized fluff, realize the answer isn't even in there, and then you have to go back and click the next link.
You're doing all the heavy lifting. I mean, I do this every single day. I'll have like 8 tabs open trying to cross-reference specs for a new camera under $1,000 or trying to understand some new piece of software.
It's exhausting. But Perplexity disrupts that entirely. Instead of acting as just an indexer pointing you to external sites, it acts as a synthesizer.
Okay.
So when you ask it a question, whether it's what are the latest AI trends, or like in your case, what's the best camera under $1,000?
Right.
Or even, explain quantum computing like I'm 12.
Which I have definitely searched before.
Right. When you do that, it goes out and scrapes the live internet in real time. It reads multiple sources simultaneously and then writes a cohesive, direct answer for you.
I mean, that sounds great, but I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Isn't that just what ChatGPT or any other large language model does? Like, we've all seen chatbots hallucinate incredibly confidently.
Oh, absolutely. They can be very convincing liars.
Yeah. So if I'm building a professional workflow, if I'm betting my business on this, I can't have an AI just making up facts because it vaguely remembers something from its training data like 3 years ago.
Right. And that is the critical vulnerability of standard LLMs. But it's also exactly what Perplexity's architecture is designed to solve.
How so?
The mechanism behind it is heavily reliant on something called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG.
Okay, RAG.
Yeah. It's not just a language model trying to predict the next word based on its latent memory. It is a search engine first.
Wait, so it's conducting a live search before it even starts talking to me?
Precisely. When you submit a prompt, Perplexity's retrieval engine immediately fetches the most relevant up-to-date web pages.
Okay.
It pulls the actual text from those live pages and injects them directly into the context window of the language model.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the system prompt essentially forces the AI to act as a strict summarizer of only those retrieved documents.
Yeah.
It's a deterministic mapping of facts.
Oh, I see the mechanics of that now. So instead of giving the AI a blank slate and asking it to write an essay from memory,
Right.
you're slamming a stack of today's newspapers on its desk and saying, hey, give me an executive summary of these specific articles and do not add anything else.
That's a perfect analogy.
Uh-huh.
And that leads to its most important feature highlighted in the sources, which is transparency.
Yes, the citations.
Exactly. Because of that deterministic mapping, Perplexity cites its sources in line. There are little footnote numbers attached to its claims.
Which is huge.
It is.
Yeah.
If we're going to rely on an AI for the information layer of our business, we have to be able to verify it. By showing you the exact URL where a specific fact was scraped, it completely mitigates that fear of hallucination.
So you get the speed of an AI summary, but with the verifiability of traditional research.
Sure.
You know, this clarifies a major debate for me. A lot of people ask if this kind of tool is going to kill traditional search engines. Is Google dead, basically?
Right. You hear that all the time.
But based on this architecture, it's really not a zero-sum game. Like, if I need to find the specific login portal for my bank, or I want to see the menu for that local pizza place down the street.
You need navigational discovery.
Exactly. I'm going to a traditional search engine for that.
Right. Navigational search and local discovery still belong to the traditional indexers. Google is still unmatched there. But the moment your query requires synthesis, the moment you are trying to understand a concept rather than just locate a destination, Perplexity is the tool.
It's a total shift from discovery to comprehension.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's the wall I hit with all this. I use a tool like this, right? And I get a brilliant, heavily researched, perfectly cited answer in 5 seconds.
Which feels like magic.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I am still the bottleneck.
Yeah.
I still have to physically copy that answer, open my project management software, create a new task, paste the information, draft an email to my team, and hit send.
Right. The information retrieval is lightning fast now, but the execution of that information is still entirely manual.
Exactly. So how do we bridge that gap?
Well, that is the perfect pivot to the action layer. Because getting the answer is only half the equation. The other half is what you actually do with it repeatedly.
And this is where the Peakpod AI notes introduce n8n.
Yes. If Perplexity is the brain gathering the knowledge, n8n is the nervous system taking action on it.
Let's define the mechanics of n8n for a second. The sources call it a digital employee, but under the hood, what is it? A workflow automation platform.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
At a fundamental level, n8n acts as the connective tissue between the highly fragmented software we use every day.
Because none of our apps naturally talk to each other.
Exactly. You have your email client, your CRM, your Slack channels, your databases. Normally, they're totally siloed. n8n sits in the middle and listens for events. It uses APIs and webhooks to pass data back and forth seamlessly.
Okay, but I've used tools like Zapier and Make for years to do exactly that.
And most people have, yeah.
Like if someone fills out a form on my website, Zapier catches it and adds a row to a Google Sheet. Are we just putting a new coat of paint on consumer automation tools that have been around for a decade? Why is there this sudden massive hype around n8n specifically?
It's a really fair question because the baseline concept of automation definitely isn't new. The hype around n8n stems from its architecture and how it handles data.
Okay, how is it different?
Well, many legacy automation tools are rigid. They hide the complexity from the user, which makes them really easy to set up initially. But the second your workflow becomes complex, the second you need to loop through large amounts of data or parse complex JSON payloads.
Or branch a decision into like 10 different paths?
Exactly. You hit a paywall or you just hit a functionality wall.
You outgrow the consumer tool.
Yes. n8n gives you an incredibly high level of control. It visually maps out the data flow node by node, allowing you to build these highly complex, infinite branching workflows.
I see.
But the real reason it is dominating the conversation right now, the absolute holy grail of current tech, is how seamlessly it integrates with AI models we were just talking about.
Let's break that down because this is where my mind started to melt reading the sources.
It's wild stuff.
When I think of automation, I think of a line of digital dominoes. You trigger a webhook, the first domino falls, and it just blindly knocks over the next app and the next app.
Right.
If an email comes in, it forwards the text to a database. It's a predetermined, unthinking chain reaction.
And what you're describing is a deterministic workflow.
Mm.
If X happens to Y, it is entirely rigid. It has no understanding of what the data actually means.
Right.
If a customer emails saying, I love your product, or they email saying your product literally caught on fire, a deterministic workflow treats them exactly the same. It just copies and pastes the text.
But the Peakpod AI notes describe building an actual AI agent directly within n8n.
Yes.
So we aren't just passing data from point A to point B anymore. We are dropping an actual AI brain right into the middle of the domino line.
Exactly. We are moving from deterministic workflows to probabilistic workflows. And the mechanism is just fascinating. Inside n8n, you can literally drag an LLM node into your workflow.
Okay, so what happens when that new customer email arrives now?
Well, n8n doesn't just pass the text to your database anymore. It pauses. It hands the raw text of the email to the language model along with a hidden system prompt that you wrote.
Wait, really? What does that prompt look like?
You might program it to say, hey, you are a senior customer support analyst. Read the following email. Categorize the intent into one of 3 buckets: refund, technical bug, or sales inquiry.
Oh, wow.
Then extract the customer's name and the product they're mentioning. Output this data strictly in JSON format.
That's insane. So the domino doesn't just fall. It stops, reads the email, analyzes the sentiment, and extracts structural data out of messy human language.
And then it uses that extracted data to choose which path of dominoes to knock over next.
It's making a decision.
Exactly. The workflow suddenly has logic and comprehension. If the AI outputs the refund category, n8n routes the data down branch A, it pings your customer service Slack channel with a high-priority alert, and it drafts an apology email.
Right.
If the AI outputs sales inquiry, n8n routes it down branch B, it adds the lead to your CRM and pulls up the client's purchasing history.
The system is actually interpreting context. It's not just a conveyor belt anymore. It's a conveyor belt with like an inspector standing in the middle of it, making autonomous decisions.
Yes, and that is the precise moment automation becomes truly transformative for a business. By integrating AI decision-making into the automation layer, you are taking the cognitive load off of the human operator.
You don't have to sit there reading the inbox just to route the tasks.
No. The system does the reading, the routing, and the drafting.
Let's ground this a bit more. The sources have this great real-world example.
Yeah, let's walk through it.
So we have a business. A potential client fills out a contact form on the website. In the old world, that just sits in an inbox until, like, Monday morning when someone manually reads it.
Right. They read it, they manually type it into a spreadsheet, and then manually write an email back.
Exactly. But in the new world managed by n8n, the webhook catches that form submission the millisecond it happens.
Right, and it triggers the workflow instantly.
Step 1, it sends a customized confirmation email back to the client immediately so they aren't left waiting.
Step 2, the data payload is passed to an AI node. The AI summarizes the client's sprawling multi-paragraph request into, say, 3 clean bullet points.
Step 3, n8n takes those bullet points and automatically populates a Google Sheet or an Airtable database.
And Step 4, it fires a notification into your team's Slack saying, hey, new lead acquired. Here's the AI summary of what they want, and here's the link to the newly created database entry.
And that all happens in milliseconds.
Literally before you could even open the email.
While I'm sleeping. Or while I'm focused on deep creative work. You know, the barrier to entry for building a context-aware routing system like that used to be astronomical.
Oh, absolutely. You would need a whole team of developers writing custom Python scripts.
Yeah, managing API keys, hosting infrastructure on AWS.
But the democratization of system architecture is really the underlying story here. These tools have visual node-based interfaces now. You just drag and drop the connections.
You're just drawing lines between boxes on a screen.
Exactly. You map the data visually. The sources emphasize that anyone who has ever sat at their desk copying and pasting data between 2 windows and thought, man, there has to be a faster way to do this.
Which is all of us, right?
Right. If you've ever thought that, you are the prime candidate for learning this.
And that includes students, creators, marketers, solo entrepreneurs, startup founders. It fundamentally changes the math on productivity.
It really does.
If you're a single individual, but you have an n8n workflow, quietly categorizing your leads, doing your initial perplexity research, and managing your databases, I mean, you're operating with the output and efficiency of a 50-person company.
You are. You're drastically reducing manual labor costs and completely eliminating the human error that comes from repetitive tasks.
Because humans get tired, we make typos.
Exactly. The time savings are enormous. But honestly, more importantly, it frees up human capital.
Yes.
When you aren't spending 3 hours a day acting as a human router for data, you can actually focus on strategy, on relationship building, and on high-level problem solving.
It's the ultimate leverage, which really brings the entire Peakpod AI thesis into focus for me. We are watching two massive layers of technology mature simultaneously right now. On one side, we have the information layer with the tools like Perplexity AI. It's completely redefining how we scrape the web, how we enforce factual citations through RAG pipelines, and how we move from simply finding links to instantly comprehending complex topics.
And on the other side, we have the action layer with n8n. It takes that comprehended data and plugs it directly into probabilistic workflows.
Right.
It allows the software to interpret context, branches logic autonomously, and execute multi-step processes across hundreds of different applications.
It's like the brain and the hands are finally connecting.
That's exactly what it is.
You research with the AI and you execute with the workflow.
It is a profound evolution in how we interact with software. And, there's a lingering thought here, something I think everyone needs to deeply consider after analyzing these sources.
Ooh, what's the takeaway?
Think about the traditional concept of a job description. For the last century, your value in the workforce was largely determined by your ability to execute tasks, right?
Right, you were the one reading the email, routing the data, compiling the spreadsheet.
Exactly. But if we are rapidly entering an era where AI can autonomously research answers, logically categorize incoming data, and execute complex workflows across all of your business apps.
The physical execution of work becomes commoditized.
Precisely. The value shifts from the laborer to the architect. If your most valuable skill is no longer executing the work yourself, but rather managing, directing, and optimizing a fleet of invisible digital employees.
Wow.
How does that change the skills you need to be learning today? How does it change your entire career trajectory tomorrow?
That is the ultimate question, moving from a task doer to a system builder.
That's the future.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the architecture of tomorrow's workflows. We really hope tearing down the mechanics behind Perplexity and n8n gave you some massive aha moments today.
There's a whole new world out there.
It really is, and the architecture is just sitting there waiting for you. We warmly invite you to go drop that first AI node into a workflow and just see what happens when the dominoes start thinking for themselves. Until next time.